Alright, we can finish getting this thing set up live, but I'm already 10 minutes late, so I push play. When people come in to start chatting, I'll get the chat box figured out. What else do we need? Yeah. So we'll use a different version of the chat box tonight so that people can see it in the actual in the VOD on YouTube. But for that it requires actual chatters. Hey Zukin. Let's see if I can get this chat box to work. Chat box. Because I want to have one up where you can read it better on the VOD. But that's not. Oh, there it is. There it is. It's finally updating. No, I'm keeping the sideways one. I think I got that from you, right, Zukin? And I like that best for regular streams, but since we're doing like a brainstorm discussion bullshitting stream today, I figured it'd be best to have the text up as readable as possible. Let's change this. No, I can't do that. That's not gonna work. I don't know if maybe that's gonna be readable. It looks like you can see through it. Let me move this shit out of the way. Oh, good, a bullshitting stream, my favorite. Yeah. I shut down Unity because I thought I was gonna restart my machine before stream, but I didn't have time to restart my machine. I was coming in pretty hot. Hey, Quicksana. Siwanin? Talit? Fielder? Liz Biscuits? Chat text looks fine on screen. You guys can read it? Okay, cool. Can I make this box bigger? Cool. Yeah, the background's dark enough and stuff, so maybe I'll once Unity pops up, I'll actually minimize it again. I wanted to have something cool in the background, but I mean, we got the cool Monsters and Memories banner in the background. We'll do this. Once it pops up, I'll minimize it again. Hey, Chaz Solo. Hey, Ventali. You guys are piling in tonight. Everybody's like, don't want to miss the playtest. Well, I hate to break it to you tonight. We're just bullshitting. Are we expecting another test this year? Yeah, for sure. We are. Tuesday's test, again, similar to the other tests, it just helps us understand better how the tests may perform, what we need to fix in order to do them more regularly in the future. Oh my god, it's so bright. Burning your retinas. Yeah, so I think we're probably better off just minimizing that and having the dark background, huh? We can keep an eye on our very cool Cobalt friends. Let me make this a little bit bigger still. So Kirsch, it is Kirsch, right? Is it Kirsch? I was just I was just looking at your post, though I don't think I read all of it before coming in, but I was reading it on the way in. Cause Zukin hit me with the DM and was like, Zukin was like, the thing with vendors has a name now, Vendor Gates. I was like, oh my god. Effing LOL. It's not a wall text. It's not too bad. When I saw your name attached to it, and when I saw that you were the one that said Vendergate, then I had to assume that there was a little gleam in your eye, a little tongue in cheek when you wrote that. You weren't like angrily. If it'd been somebody else, maybe I might have pictured like Vendergate. I'm like, oh fuck. Shweddy? No, the server's not up. Oh. Yeah, that's so the only downside to the I think the only downside to the playtests, especially if we don't like have a regular schedule or something, is folks are just going to be bummed and they're always going to be like, oh, what's going on? Playtest today? No, okay, I thought. But we do want to do them. We do want to do them more frequently than maybe you guys are expecting, so. But the first steps are always to, the first steps are just to get it to where we know shit works. How are the music levels for this? I cranked it up a little bit. Do I need to turn it down a little bit? Is it blasting you guys? It's fine? Cool. Yeah, there's only a couple songs, like the theme and stuff like that, that really go pretty hard, so it should be relatively quiet. Ended your P99 stream and told those guys to come here? Right on. I saw that you had posted the stream. Give you a little thumbs up or whatever. So, I'm hoping that went well for you. Whoops, let me get out of the way. What's the Revolutionary War thing I mentioned Tuesday? I just listened to... was it 2 books? Let me check. I'll check my Audible. No, it doesn't look angry, Kirsch. I would say even some of the ones that look angry aren't angry. Even if sometimes I read them, I'm like, is that person busting my balls right now? Rise to Rebellion and The Glorious Cause, both by Jeff Shara, are the Revolutionary War books that I listened to that I really enjoyed. Oops. It just started playing. Yeah, Fielder, I like him because, I mean, if people are like strict history people, they may, I think some people don't like his approach, but his father was Michael Shara, who did, what was it, Killer Angels? About Gettysburg, and that eventually got turned into the movie Gettysburg, or series movie Gettysburg. I just started, well, I didn't just start, I'm like halfway through Killer Angels now. I would say, and Jeff Shara, his son, went back and wrote the prequel to it, and then the book after it, all on the Civil War. And I gotta say, I actually like his son's writing a lot better, but it's kind of, they took the approach of, his father was like the first one to really kind of write one of these historical books from the point of view of the people, and like fictionalize the dialogue and stuff, but keep the facts as strict as possible. So it's like, you know, it's very much like a novel, right? So he's thinking this and that, and there's all these details and stuff. It's not just, you know, detail. And so I really enjoy them just because it gives you the history, but it's also, there's some characterization and stuff like that. So so if you're even slightly interested in the topics or in history, then I find that the Jeff Shara stuff has been good, and Michael Shara, his father. It's kind of a sad story. His father was just like random dude and spent like whatever 10 years writing the book, and no one gave a shit about the Civil War at the time, and no one really was all that into it. And so it wasn't all that big a deal. And then after he died, they, you know, contacted his son and made like the Gettysburg movie, and it kind of blew up and was kind of a big deal. But he was just kind of an ordinary dude that wrote it, I think. And then that allowed Jeff Shara to follow in his father's footsteps, and I dig what he's done. And I thought the topics were really good. It's really cool to hear about our history. So Jeff Shara, Shaara. Cool. Now we'll get back on topic. From Boston, so stuff resonates with you. Check them out. Yeah, dude, I've got a new appreciation for. It's interesting, like the founding fathers and stuff. Hearing their background and how so many of them were just kind of like regular dudes. Pretty cool stuff. Dadvik said, howdy, playing Guild Wars 2, watching Eminem, good times, right on. MMO Pug, hello. Let's see. Shorty said, never had more than myself watch my stream, got more than just me. Nice. Liz asks, what were the key wins from Tuesday's joyous flash test, other than happy plebs and key issues that came out? I would say the big wins were, it went pretty damn smoothly. It looked like performance was pretty good. Overall, Ali was pleased with what he was seeing behind the scenes. The overall experience, I mean, I really wasn't playing, I was just kind of standing around. Seemed okay. A couple of key issues were merging of the 3 servers that we had into one. So some characters were missing for some folks. Some bodies were missing. There was the frame rate issue with regards to... there was the frame rate issue with regards to like corpses and stuff like that. So looking at that, looked like there was maybe some asset loading issues. So look at that. Other issue, CDN. It looked like people downloading were running into some problems. Nick made some comments, had some questions about where our like file server was or whatever. So that's another one for us to look at. But overall, it was pretty good. What could also be considered some wins? the number of people that were in, it was a nice amount. So things didn't get too wild. I had actually been really concerned that word would get out and people would be on holiday, but they hadn't started their 4th of July like partying yet and stuff. And so I was concerned that we may hit like 1,000 people in the zone or whatever, and that would not be good because, you know, well, I mean, maybe it would work fine, but I worried that it might be bad. But yeah, it was pretty low key. I'm glad that Nick had really pushed to get the word out, because I was like, let's just keep it on the stream and see how many people show up. But then putting it on Discord was helpful for folks. Other downside, I know a lot of people were bummed that they missed it and that it wasn't stated in advance and all that stuff. So that's a bummer for you, but you know, I mean, shit, that's life. I'm sorry that you missed it, but I'm only so sorry. We'll get you in there sometime soon. Is it possible to hide all other corpses but your own? Might be a quit and dirty. Yeah, so you can hide all corpses, but I could have sworn even... I think all of our options wound up hiding your own corpse, but you can target your corpse. So... Lifewater said, I had a weird frame rate issue throughout, even when hiding corpses, which is weird because I don't have them... didn't have them in a previous stress test. Oh, weird. That might have been one of those restart the client, restart your machine type scenarios. Unless a lot of people are running into a similar problem, then it's often like something's going on with your client. Nick mentioned we added new things that aren't optimized yet. Yeah, there's that too. And optimization in general, there'll be more optimization passes. Nick, is it accurate that all of our various hide corpse options, there wasn't like a clean hide all corpses except my corpse option? Or was I just lying? Yeah, and there are definitely some additional hide corpse variations that we can get in. Liz said, by the way, at this stage of test, I personally don't expect my tunes to be there between tests. Once the servers are more regularly available, sure. Yeah, no worries. But we did... We do want to try to keep it as kind of consistent for you as possible. It seems like a nice little customer service thing. It's interesting, I got the nice blinding white next to the nice dark area over there. Where are we at? We're 20 minutes in. Let me try something really quick. I don't think I've ever done it with Twitch. Let me just control scroll wheel. Ooh, that's nice. Ooh, that's so much better. I'm getting old. I just made the window 125%, and I can read you a lot better at a distance. Spent all my money on locate corpse because my friend was having a hard time finding his. Look at that, teamwork. Yeah, it doesn't help that a lot of the corpses look like. Fielder said, really like the haptic models. Nice job, Zook and Goblin. They're gonna be fun. Didn't see any females though. Are they in? Yes and no, Zukin said. Okay. You guys want to start on today's topic? What I need is somebody to go to every one of our VODs and comment with a timestamp of when the actual like stuff happens. If anything happens, you can timestamp it and just be like, there was no actual topic in this VOD. Still not as good as the acai flavor. This is apricot strawberry. Shinji said, I saw in the VOD Zook and Sculpts mentioned a halfling infestation in the park. I wish I could have been there to see it. Yeah, the seeing more of the characters come online is always super exciting. And little stuff, like I hadn't seen the female face paint, the female human face paint. When I saw it was outstanding. It was so exciting. Should I do it with this, or should I actually... Hold on a second, let me try something else over here. Open another window. No, that window maybe. New document. Yeah. I'll upgrade instead of using Notepad. That way at least it can spot my spelling errors faster. I love Notepad too. I use Notepad for everything, and then everybody's like, why don't you use Notepad++, or why don't you use whatever? And it frustrates me. People tell me what to do. Amana said, so I walked into the blood puppet slaughter at the end of the test. How did that happen? It happened because a member of our team spawned a bunch of them. Spawned a bunch of them right on top of you. Killed you. That's how it happened. Right after that same member of the team / killed me. People having senseless holy wars over which text editor is better is a tale as old as text editors. Orizoids? Is that pronounced correctly? Yeah, I mainly just... I mess with... This is my jam right here. Notepad. Notepad, MS Paint usually gets it done for me. But since I'm going to wind up probably putting notes, pasting them into Google Docs anyways, I might as well just start here. When I'm typing, like just touch typing. My spelling is atrocious. If you've read any of my Discord posts, you know that I've got to edit them like 5 times to catch all the typos. So I might as well have some squiggly lines here. My wife's really into Notion for holiday planning and stuff like that. She's a big Notion fan. I think I've always been a, like, I don't necessarily think I'm a bad speller. My grammar's okay. But because I'm just typing and not looking half the time, it's usually all sorts of random shit appearing on the screen. But in the past, I think that's why when I work in a corporate environment, I'm so used to reading every email I send like 5 times before I send it. That was a habit I think I formed, mainly because I would have to censor myself a lot. After my first few years at Sony, I realized I was just being an asshole. So I'd be like, why are you so stupid? And I have to go back and delete that and be like, I think you misobserved. Nicodemus, thank you for the 2 gift subs. Swanee, congrats. Steel Step, congrats. Thanks for that, buddy. 175 gift subs you've given. That is monstrous. I appreciate it. Okay, so do we want to talk about... Oops, I'm typing in the wrong dang window. MMO... Conveniences versus inconveniences. What's that line? What are you trying to tell me? Nicodemus said, I appreciate all you and the team does. It's been fun to be on this ride with you guys. Man, you know what? 1000% same feeling. It's been so much fun. Like, it's actually kind of surreal if I think back to the early, year 1 on this thing. Super weird. Oh, that just gave me anxiety. We gotta move faster. Oh shit, I'm too slack. Why am I so undisciplined? Must go faster. Hey, Zemus. If God hadn't invented alcohol and good weather, I'd be so far ahead right now. Alright, so we're gonna do this brainstorm, or should I do something else? You guys seem into it when I first suggested it. You were asking about it a week or 2 ago. MMO conveniences versus inconveniences. Is that how I said it in general? Let me scroll up. Ooh, Ollie's got a comment in here as well. This is me being a smartass. Sorry, guys. Oh, MMO conveniences, good or bad, was what I actually named this. I like conveniences versus inconveniences better, but whatever. Let me scroll down to whatever Ollie had to say so I don't miss it. I have that here. Learning the world is good for you. Alright, Liz is off to races. So if you guys haven't seen one of these before, if you go back about a year in our VODs, or if you search for like Brainstorm in our VODs, you'll see some of these. And we've got some. I need to knock the dust off of them. You know what I need to do? Let me make a note for myself so I don't forget. I'll put it right here in this doc. Dust off the old Brainstorm documents and gather up the various feedback documents from FNF, etc. Note to self. Cool. All right. Cool. So if you haven't seen one of these before, basically what I try to do is we talk. Sometimes there's some debate, but in past ones when we were just doing what do you think makes a good dungeon, it was just me writing the stuff that you have or copy and pasting stuff as fast as I could, and we just would compile all of it and then organize it after the fact. Excuse me. Oh my god, Red Bull's finally kicking in. Dinner was delicious tonight. Good job, me. So we just put it in there and then we've got it, right? So we'll see how this one works. It'll be slightly different because there is a bit of inherent debate. So we've got... Yeah, so, okay, that was actually Zemus said maps versus being forced to learn the world. Maps versus being forced to learn the world. At which point we had listening, learning the world is good for you. As much as she liked Legacy of Akesha for giving EQ frogs, the maps not so much. Interesting. Hey Glurky. What's up, Valeth? Dr. McCullum says, I don't understand why some players are against in-game maps. Humans have had maps for a long dang time. It could be how much the maps actually do for you. A lot of people that we've talked to haven't been against in-game maps. But they've been against in-game maps that show where your location is and all that stuff. So, Kirsch says, I think we can take from more modern games like Outward here. Because of modern rendering distance, we can use things like distant landmarks. So I'm just going to take that statement, I'm going to paste it right on in here. Boom. Now I can... Oh. Now I can... The frick. We'll go here. Cool. Instances, dynamic zones versus pure contested content. Zima said. Cool. I'm gonna plop this down here. Instances versus contested content. Maps aren't inherently good or bad, but when you have a map you can pull up with a dot showing your location direction that you can see while also moving, takes away the immersion and takes away interaction away, and people get tunnel vision on the map when they move. All right, I'm gonna copy this one in here. Give it a little space. In Final Fantasy 16? No, in Final Fantasy 11, Jesus. You had 16. In Final Fantasy 11, you had to acquire maps, and the higher level areas had maps that were very hard to acquire, very expensive. It's kind of fun. Glurky, I'm gonna paste that. I used to just try to type every bit of this, and then I realized I could copy paste. Schweddy said, and it just made me think. Schweddy, is that from the old skit, the Schweddy Wieners, or am I just saying your name wrong? Something to be said for all tabbing the maps that are made by players. I agree with this statement. A lot of people don't agree with me on this, but I agree with it. But mailboxes versus no mailboxes. All right, I'm gonna put this down here. Mailboxes versus no mailboxes. Both of Jasmine's parents were mailmen. I gotta catch up. Are we talking overlay maps or are we discussing maps your character holds and references? I'm assuming they're one and the same. Nicodemus Glurky says the Final Fantasy XI maps were just very general. It didn't show where you where to go for quests, have markers. The original ones, not the ones that are on the emu servers now. Actually, one of these days I need to look up one of those. It's been forever since I played that game. Emoji says because often they often aren't maps. They're just 2D generation of the in-game geometry, which takes all the fun out of exploring when they show everything 100% accurately. My take: they often aren't maps. Have moss grow on the north side of trees. It's actually an interesting idea. Gothic 1 and 2 had nice immersive system for maps where they were sketched by the NPCs and they were incomplete, sometimes lied to you. Be floaty, that is cool. Anytime somebody references Gothic, I get excited because Jasmine really liked that game when she was young. I think they did it. Didn't they just do a remake? Gothic had a lot of really interesting systems. Liz said, Veil of yes, having a rough sketch show a big hill up there, temple there isn't bad. Having a dot show you better than a GPS location, meaning you don't have to look for anything. If you're gonna do that, might as well just do Magic Path. Yeah, and Magic Path. Warland said, I like maps that are visually detailed, but not necessarily a GPS tracker. Yeah. There's been a lot of that sentiment, and I think that makes sense. Let me tell you two I'm still here. I think fast travel horse flight paths have a nice place in this convo somewhere. Let me put it down here then. Fast travel and horse/flight paths. Herb said, also a lack of maps kind of tricked me into thinking EQ1 zones were a lot more than they really were. I had no idea G-Fate was a giant square despite spending hundreds of hours there. I think that's a fair point. Were you disappointed when you finally saw it on the wiki? Yeah, Valeth. Shared banks between characters from Not Costanza. That's funny. Liz said Kithakor Forest had a middle apparently. It wasn't just a wall with a scary void on death in the middle. Let's see. Oh, what was it about? Oh, shared characters. Shared banks between characters. Allowing players to create their own maps allows for more immersion. If the maps are customizable, it gives a greater enjoyment of using them, Fielder said. What do you mean by players creating their own? I think that's what the devil is in those details. Zemus, I'm going to take your note. I'm going to add it in here as well. Because it is an interesting point. I mean, that's why I always reference, like, we have a moving sun. And in these zones, you can actually see the sun. Like in Wormsbane, you can't see the sun. So it's hard for me to say, you know, look for that and gather north. But B Floaty said, pretty much my favorite series, Sean. One of the most immersive RPGs ever. It's a very interesting series. If you're not familiar with Gothic 1 and 2, there are a lot of great videos breaking it down. They're really worth a watch. Bayless said, I prefer Gothic to Skyrim. I could see that. It was really big over here. Absolute Target said, people that don't like maps are people that work primal mapping skills. Things like putting the sun directly behind you and not turning until you see yellow flowers. This creates a map crafted in your mind out of the experiences. That is pretty poetic, Absolute Target. So Shwedi and Fielder are collabing here. Cartographer skill, the more you draw in the book, the better and more detailed your maps get. Be interesting how to figure out how to make that something that is data driven and not maybe as like directly interactive. And I'm going to take Fielder's response and say, boom. Mass teleportation versus making the journey on foot. So mass teleportation, mass delusion versus making the journey on foot / horse. Not having auto mapping features gives you a lot of divination gameplay options. I don't get the joke. My brain is too smooth during stream time when I'm all jacked up on Red Bull. Especially if you can show your map to others, brings even more value to being a great cartographer. Show or like make a new one for them and sell it for lots of cash. Even working EQ sense heading skill to eventually show you on a map would be interesting. Can't see your own GPS until you work that skill up. Yeah. You know what? I'm not gonna argue with it. When we do these, it's very much like improv. Just a lot of yes. Just okay, yes and. I'm not gonna be like, we'll probably hit some targets or topics where I'm like, I won't be able to not like argue. But Northern Sky, very appropriate name for the current topic. Thank you for the follow. Dude, I am so behind on chat. Let me catch up real quick. Hirelings / NPCs versus grouping with players. Do we need to cover that, Nicodemus? Because we know where we're heading with it. I'll put it on the list, but that'd be almost like arguing something to not even. I got the feeling everybody's on the same page on this one. Was there something special? There was something special about running the zone lines, looking for landmarks, know where you're at. Static map really helped with that immersion of thinking I'm here. Bailiff, yep. That sense of place, right? Let me scroll down and see how behind I am. Okay, I'll catch up. Let's see. No Merc bots, EQ. Mercs ruined the game for me. Yeah, I think that's the general consensus when we get to that point. It's done with more modern MMOs, made players way more isolated. Yeah, so people are already responding. Boric says, call the hero at lower levels. All levels could have large costs, long cooldowns, require 2 to 3 people. So that when replacing people after an hour or 2 doesn't break up groups. All right, I think that's a fine convenience topic. I'm gonna put it down here. Right, because that's one of those kind of like specific things that we could argue. Also, Sean, your voice chatting Eminem over my Peloton lady screaming at me is relaxing while working out. Nice. I'm glad that she and I could team up. We're like Wonder Twins. Global currency versus specific currency via location. Okay, I'll put it on here. Put that there. Never heard of Gothic. Gonna look it up right after this. Glurky, you really should. It's a really cool, underrated game. Zima said, "Oof, yeah. EQ at this point has upwards of 40 alternate currencies. It's tough." See, I'm gonna Aramisk. We are brainstorming about MMO conveniences versus inconveniences. Auction house versus player trader would be an example of that. So I'm gonna create a line. Yeah. I'm gonna create a line right here. Let's go ahead. I forgot. It doesn't do that. And I don't know the keystroke or shortcut for inserts. Horizontal line. Doesn't appear to be one. Okay. Divination spell variations without maps. Sense landmarks, sense water, sense undead, sense direction. Ooh. I'm a fan of that one. Good job, Seamus. That's actually pretty cool. And then provide more of that kind of stuff in there. That's an interesting Ventali said, I was a huge fan of Spires and Luckland. Boats and airships have always been a fun concept for world traversal. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the boats and airships. Airboats. Let's see. Liz, you were correct. It was part of Legacy of Akesha. Can confirm. Because I remember those discussions. We were jamming. We had to try to justify 1999 or whatever it was. So it was a bunch of tech features that Scott and the guys already had kind of sitting around. Sparrow, thank you for 2 months and all the great videos. Glurky says, I agree with Auction House. Who else said something about Auction House above that? Auction House, but you need the buy side as well as the sell side. So I'm going to put this down here. And that was triggered by Glurky saying, I agree with Auction House. Do not miss standing in EC, posting on forums. Yeah, so we've been talking about a hybrid approach where by giving players a safe way to consign items with other players, I think a couple other games do this. Essentially, by giving you consignment tools, you can set the terms like time and price and all that stuff, and then the trader can actively trade. So if you agree on like I want 100 plat for this, and they get 10%, they can actually sell it for 300 if they find a buyer. They keep everything over basically the 100 plat selling price, plus they keep their 10% consignment. And then over time, these traders can actually get bigger and bigger containers and more flexibility and stuff like that. So that was the idea we've been talking about for a couple years now, so that it would be a mix. Basically, you can give your items to somebody because you don't want to deal with that shit, and then they handle the sort of active bartering, selling. What's that called? Not bantering. Barking. Bartering, no, I mean when like when you're like, hey, come right on in here, we got live girls in here. What's that called? Not the actual the deal making, the hey, hawking? Yeah, like so the hawking part of it. Barking? Hawking? Banter is like, hey, cat calling? No, you're not. Alright, so it's like a carnival barker. Alright, I gotta scroll up because I missed some stuff. So you guys hold your horses 1 second. Let's see. Even the flight path system in Classic WoW was good in between. You still got to see the world around you on your flight as opposed to modern games. Put this down here. Let's see. I believe we should have a summon spell for players to get them into groups and dungeons that already have a camp, but when we leave the group, they go back to the location they were, aka unsummoning. That's so powerful, though. That's so powerful. That's ooh. Where's the Call of the Hero here? Actually liked how Warlock summons worked in Vanilla WoW. Only Warlocks could do them. Took 2 to 3 hours to start to summon. I totally forgot about that. Fielder said, the mapping tool I'm talking about there was where you did the map yourself. I know for a fact it happened during Gates of Discord because I did the beta, went around in Shroud of Stealth from our rogue mapping zones manually. Perhaps Loy was the actual... I think that may be true. Was Legacy of the Akesha just the maps existed? No, but I don't think did we release maps with LOY? I've got the feeling Zemus knows. Quicksanta, do spell reagents count as a topic? Some games remove them after some time. I think they do. Let's put it down here. Spell reagents. Because this is one I actually like. We haven't been doing much with yet. And I'm afraid that we're going to get to a point where we're like, don't want to tackle that now. So Nick, if you're listening, I'm probably going to badger you on that. Lore-friendly regional currencies, maybe global token mechanics. Many global token mechanics, please, no. Okay, that's fair. I'm going to skip down a little bit. On the topic of auction houses, marketplaces, local auction house versus global auction house. I think there's something to be said about players having to transport goods. I agree. McAaron says, Since Landmark sounds awesome, doesn't it? Since Water is a cool one. That is cool. Are these on the list? Let me... Yep, Since Water is on there. Since Good, Since Evil, Since Chaos, Since Corruption, Since Big Ass Dragon. Alright, cool. A big chunk of this is me trying to figure out a word. For me, a Soulbinder wouldn't be bad as long as there was some difficulty in reaching them. If KOS and City... Okay, I'm gonna grab this one. So... Copy, come down here. Soulbinder. Who are you gonna call? How about in a temple, so that if you're down with the town's religion, you get to buy another temple? There's actually, I think I put in a quest. Did I put in a quest at the temples? So there's actually soul binding in the temples, but I think it's associated with a little quest. Oh yeah, it is. But it's really like You would have to look on the wiki to probably figure it out. Most people. You talk to a certain priest in the town, and then he's got a quest, and then he'll give you an item that you can take to any other priest and get your soul bound there. It involves bone chips. Herb says, "Oh my god, and they could consign to others. Terrifying. Why is that terrifying? Are you talking about the consignment idea? What about always requiring mana for spellcasting versus players create potions, scrolls for times when they're out of mana? I keep making these ideas, but I'm not sure if you have enough yet. I'll put them on here. I don't know that we'll discuss all of them in detail, but when you guys slow down with ideas, then I'll go back through some of the topics as well. You know what I mean? We've had some of these where we take off really fast and then it kind of peters out pretty quickly. It's like, how about the mounts? And so, you want to debate mounts versus no mounts? Is that where you're heading? What else we got? Having potions be lore so you can only have one on you. I put it down here. Have classic EQ epics been discussed? Very long quests that return epic items. How would we discuss that though? Like in this setting, would that be, should we have them or shouldn't we have them? EQ originally had a timer that prevented you from drinking more than 1 to 2 potions during a period of time. Interesting, Zemus. I don't remember that. Potions, and I'm just going to put in parentheses, scrolls, wands, etc. Basically, cheap clickies. Bind, class slash spell specific or ability anybody can use? Alphonse asked. Let me copy that and paste it. You had me on mute. Don't worry, Aramis. I wasn't saying a bunch to you. Can't imagine Sean hosting this conversation without discussing selling loot to separate designated vendors. Yeah. What did Kirch call that already? Vendorgate? Vendorgate. Epics versus no epics? Okay. I'll put it on here. Epics versus no epics. Let's see. Dr. McCollum said EQ epic quests require too much of a time sink. Don't have time to spend days camping each mob. Well, I guess that's part of the... That'd be part of the discussion then. Zima said, epic quest, do you care about the class specific quest or do you care about each class having a super good item for 4+ years? Dargus, I'd love to see more varied mechanics for recharging magical items. I'm gonna put this under here. consumables need timers of some sort to prevent abuse, but you should be able to carry full stock. All right. Let's see. Going back up a little bit, I missed some stuff. So, encumbrance versus no encumbrance. Oh, that's a fun one to debate. Let me go here. Oh, it's still got the pasting. Oh, isn't there? What's the shortcut for pasting without formatting? I'll try that in a second. Oops. Encumbrance versus no encumbrance. Bounty code, thank you for the follow. Let's see, wizard class quest where you had hand in your folio and get notes back. Shouldn't those notes be lore so you don't accidentally put two of the same ones in the bag? Help me understand how that relates to this, Nils. Absolute Target says, I would say mailboxes and player vendors both fall into immersive player run systems versus reliable NPC systems. Like, do you want to have to find a certain class to go through a process to mail a package, or just use UI? I would say immersive systems are always better for the economy they create. I'm gonna post this whole thing in here. Wouldn't it be fun trade skill? You're the mailman. So we had mail somewhere. Let me look. Mailboxes versus no mailboxes. We are moving you now. Boom. Raid constructs versus the one DPS group getting all the XP on the plains clear. Oh, I see what you're saying. So, raid. I'll just put raid constructs down. Constructs. Would being a mailman spawn jackals at certain locations? Right? I think there's something to be said for that. We've talked about that with things like caravans, right? So I think there's a precedent in our discussion for that type of thing, Zukin. Let's do it. Let's do it. Would most mailmen be bards? All of a sudden, Norathian lore makes sense. Paste without format utility for Windows. Let me... Okay, cool. I've got that up now. I don't know that I'm going to use it right now, Zemus, but I've got it up. I thought there was a keystroke to paste without formatting, though. So if I take this, copy, Control-Shift-V, nope. Control-Z, Control-Alt-V, nope. Shit. I thought it was Control-Shift-V, yeah. Yeah, there we go. Why didn't it work the first time? Thanks, Nick. Yeah, I thought it was... I thought there was something like that. So, cool. Let's see. Did, Acreal said, did anyone say corpse runs yet? I'm a firm believer in corpse runs needing to stay dead. Oh, that's gonna be a nice fight with the rest of the room, I think. Corpse runs versus no corpse runs. Should I actually be doing that, or should I be hitting them with the control? Hitting them with a control alt 3 probably. Bold. Control. Oh, control alt 3. What? Control alt 3. You son of a bitch in keyboard. It's got to be this wacky Swedish keyboard I'm using. On mailboxes, wizards can send text on a short cooldown. Necro can send gold with some sacrifice. Rangers can move large packages in slow cooldown via pack animal. I'm not picturing what you're picturing. That feels very... I'm sure there's some logic behind what you're picturing there, but it feels a little random to me. Okay, what is going on? What keyboard am I using right now? Swedish keyboard. Yeah, English though. Control Shift V. It worked once. Interesting. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Corpse run forever. Death penalties for poor decisions, Dragon said. What percentage of hobbits are made of pie, or what percentage of a hobbit is pie? Rare jackal dingo spawns only if mailman classes in the POI. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. If we're taking from other games, I believe Embers did a good job with keeping corpse runs, but not being so detrimental to gameplay. I'm not familiar with how is it not detrimental? Corpse runs. If the items on corpses can never be lost, then it'd be slightly less awful. After losing 4 years worth of the collected items, I'd be more inclined to quit than continue. Yeah, I think like item loss is just not. And it worked that time. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's taking the destination formatting, and where I was pasting before had wonky formatting. That's what's going on, because it just took the formatting from there. Okay, now I get it. So it was working the whole time. Having corpses be a little simpler to attain in worst case scenarios, but generally more affordable corpse summon. Yeah, we've talked about some mitigation strategies there. Who said this? Warland said, corpse runs are fine by me, but I'm not sure about spellbooks being included. Yeah, so we've talked about some conveniences or some mitigation strategy on that one. Like eventually you having a certain number of spells that you can maintain even after death, or that you have without your spellbook, kind of like cantrips or whatever. Alphonse, thank you for the follow. Multi-questing versus no multi-questing has not been brought up. I'm just gonna say no on some of these. Control Shift 3. Control Alt 3. Yeah, that's what it is. Control B, Control Alt 3. Control B, Control Alt 3. Stat inflation, work out some plan ahead of time. Yeah. Graveyards versus no graveyards. I'll put that as part of this. Graveyard or no. Because that's one of those things where graveyard, one of the ideas is that essentially you can purchase your corpse back if it sits there long enough. Sorry, if the corpse is not recovered in X amount of time, adventurers go and get it for you, but they're going to sell it back to you at a price. So, group trade windows. That's just an interesting idea. I don't... Naturally... Okay, I don't know why this does this. There we go. Oh, it is because the language settings. So it's super easy to switch language settings. I didn't realize that until I had multiple languages on my I'm working in. And it's something weird, like I think Control Shift or something like that. Yeah, Control Shift. Accidentally hitting Control Shift changes your language setting. So I'm constantly bouncing between like Swedish and English settings on my keyboard, and yeah. All right, cool. It's slowing down a little bit, which isn't a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that you guys are already running out of ideas and things to say. That's not a bad thing. I mean, less than an hour into it. I'm not questioning your stamina. But what we can do is we can go back and debate some of these individually then once you guys get all tuckered out. In Classic EQ, dying on a raid boss and needing to gather everyone's corpses and buff up again. So... Acriel says, could take 2 hours. If I was in my 20s again, I might have that time to waste, but not now. Don't believe you. I believe you got 2 hours now, but that'll be a separate debate. Everybody's like, I just don't have the time right now. All right. Let me check your Netflix history. Let me check your Instagram and other app usage. I think you got the time. I think you're bullshitting. So Borg got back to me on that. Embers had, so you dropped your backpack that you had to recover. Couldn't loot, use items, but kept your spells armor if I recall correctly. Okay, I'll write it down. I don't see us changing our current paradigm, but I'll definitely write it down. So, Einer Fuße, 1 footer, says, I want to keep the old EQ stuff, but add some classes and races like you guys are doing, and have stat and attributes and be more impactful. Cool. Yeah, I don't think there's much debate from us on that one. Maybe you could pay some wizards some of your stuff back to you, but like at a high cost. That's interesting. I don't think we've discussed like summon corpse, but not summon gear. I'll throw it on here. Would that be a wizard or would that be... Yeah, maybe. Okay, so Siwanen said mailboxes. What if major cities had local post offices? If you have a house in said city, you receive mail there. Otherwise, pick it up at the post office. Will allow for item transactions without 2 players being in the same place. I will put it into the mailboxes section. Oh, time for me to click on YouTube again. Dragon said, depending on the death, causes XP loss or something else as a deterrent. Death is not always a penalty to some. Player power. Should feign death start a breath countdown where you have to start breathing again and stop feigning. It's random. I'm gonna put it on here. That's I'm even gonna insert a line for stuff where I'm like, we'll get back to that. Where was line again? Where was line? There it is. I actually like Confluence's quick line thing. They do it similar to, I think, like Word and stuff. Let's see. Did we cover how loot drops are handled? No, I don't think we did. Specializing class to fit one role versus trait trees for the class to fit multiple roles. Nicodemus, I'm gonna write it down just because we're in the part of things where I'm just writing everything down. But we'll have to figure out how to. See, events like EQ seasonal events where Halloween you could always expect something fun to happen. What would be the counter argument though? Is that something that people would actually argue against? I don't, with some of these, if there's no like arguing against it, or if it's not really adding a convenience or inconvenience to the game, then I don't know that we would debate it in this session. Boric says, sorry for retyping. You think it got lost? It definitely got lost earlier. Set name spawn locations. Easy to camp, being mainly FK versus any mob type being able to spawn said name. Example, snake could be. Does it have to be either or? Though, I guess I'll write down camps versus no camps. Camps versus no camps. Yeah, when we do these, we'll often find ourselves going a little bit sideways on ideas and topics, but alright, let me see if I can sort of get caught up. On encumbrance, should money have weights? Encumbrance versus no encumbrance. Should money have weights? Dopamine pacing MMO doesn't match Netflix or social media. Lack of a pause button, social pressure changes dynamic considerably. I'm not saying it's the same dynamic. I just think that sometimes people go, I don't have the time, and then they stare at their phone for 3 hours. So that's my point on that one. But I could be wrong. Not up for all night raids like when in like the first 2 hours. I'm really not up for long raids period anyway. But that's just me speaking. If you notice, we haven't discussed a ton of raiding. Are we debating corpse runs right now? No, we're just sort of, stuff's coming up as we go. We haven't picked any one thing to debate so far. Multi-quest versus no's got a submission here. Maybe some type of group quest or guild quest could be a type of multi-quest. I've got kids. When I'm not working, I have time to sit down for long interrupted periods where I can help out if needed. Having a show on that I can walk away from sometime is not the same as needing to be present play game. That's fair. That's fair. I think for people where that's just consistently the case, that's very fair. Let's see. Loot drops, doing need, greed, pass, roll options as items drop while in group has been by far... Okay, so... That seems like a... Zemus says... Need versus greed is a failure if the users get to decide. Want versus not want is better. Seems like a fair method, right? Did you put shared banks versus banks? I know you saw a mailbox. It should be up here. Did I miss it? I thought I shared banks between characters. Yeah, Aeon, no problem. That's how these things kind of go. People come in late and stuff, and sometimes it's kind of hard to tell what's going on, but we always get cool information out of this. What's up, Olgo? Enoch says Pantheon has a pretty unique death system. You die and gain an XP debt, but you keep your gear. You lose your inventory until recovered. You still XP is normal, but a portion of it goes back to your XP debt. You can recover your corpse for more XP or pay money to NPC to have your corpse summon, but don't get the XP if I remember correctly. Don't mind corpse runs either way. I can put it down. Where were corpse runs? It's funny, the creepy noises in the background remind me that last night I had Jasmine watch The Wicker Man for the first time, the original one. And she was just like, WTF did I just watch at the end of it? So Taisai said, is this an idea dartboard? So as much as possible, I'd like for the things that you throw out to be topics or comments on topics that are related to conveniences versus inconveniences in MMOs. And so an idea of that would be like, should there be maps in game that show your location on it? Or should you have to recover a corpse or not? Or should spells have reagents? Or, you know, should you have to go back to town for anything ever? Or should you just be allowed to just sit at your camp and grind as much? Should you just be given adventure points for every kill and screw coins and all of that RP bullshit? I just want to kill stuff and see my score go higher. So it'd be that kind of stuff. Substitute, I don't have the time with I don't have the will, and you're closer. They're just being nice. I think for a lot of people, yeah, that's what it is. It's just I don't want to do that, and that's fine. I think the game should provide you with value if you only have an hour to play. But then you can't complain, or folks, I don't want to point to you specifically, you listening to this, so let me use a different term. I think the game should provide you some options, some value of stuff to do if you only have an hour. But building the entire game around the concept of the perfect 1 hour session is where where games start to get into the, hey, I just clicked the button, I go from the lobby into the into the, you know, I'm right into this group, and then we're gonna run a dungeon. The dungeon's only gonna take 30 minutes from that point, and maybe I can get 2 dungeon runs in per session. And that's not the kind of game we're making, so there's not really much reason to debate it. You know, and then when folks get upset because they're like, oh man, it really sucks when the other people, they spend 8 hours a day playing and I only have half an hour, and why are they so far ahead of me? It's like, oh, well, because you know, you got equality of opportunity. You're just not going to get the same outcomes. Is the Eminem update sent out yet? Nope, it's not. It'll happen this weekend. You'll notice that a lot of updates actually get sent out or posted on the 8th, and that's because that's usually the first weekend of the month. But the team has been submitting art and stuff to put in there, so. Let's see. Bayless said, I think I'd probably immediately quit playing a game where I had to fill an XP bar to trade an item. Feels weirdly antisocial. I don't think there's a problem with loot causing drama. It's memorable social interaction. I missed whatever triggered that, to be honest. Hirelings versus / NPC versus grouping of players. Let players have pets or familiars that give some passive bonus to recovery to mitigate the disadvantage of playing solo a bit without going full EverQuest mercenary. I'll put it down there. Let you guys debate it. I think we know our answer on that one, but it's always nice to see if something interesting pops out of the debate. So where did I have that? I'm pretty sure we had it. Hirelings. There we go. Put this here. Take this here. I wish you could double... Oh, can you now double click that? Oh, it looks like you can. I can't... when did they add that? I always miss that from using Word or whatever. Double click the paintbrush and you can just format all sorts of stuff to your heart's desires. That your heart desires? I don't know. English is hard. Nice. Nice. Oh, I feel the power of the paintbrush. Crafting auto combines versus manual combines. Nice one, Fielder. That is definitely one of those ones. Crafting. Auto combines versus manual combines versus ... Okay. Has the team considered a way for players to create their own spells or abilities? I remember 5th Age Dragonlance RPG having a spell for that. You mean like with new sort of properties? Some other games did that. Was that Asheron's Call? Some other... No, we haven't considered that. I'm AFK in a robot-filled space station with Empyrean in the background. The noises are compounding to be super weird. It's an immersion and socially destroying things for me. To me, it has nothing to do with why I would or wouldn't. It just feels like one of those gross generic game rules that I hate about modern games. What, the noises compounding? But like social noises, like people cheering and or walking or whatever. I'm confused because I'm behind Valeth. Another anecdote on maps. When playing P99 importing to West Commons, it still amazes me I can't immediately find Befallen. I've been there hundreds of times, but I always overshoot where it is, and it's funny. I'm glad there's no map because I just beeline every time. That is a fun anecdote. Crafting, trivial, no fail versus always a chance to fail. This debate seems familiar. I'm just going to put it right under crafting. I gotta admit, and I know you guys do not give a shit in the slightest, but one of the cans of pipe tobacco I have behind me smells so damn good. Oh, it's driving me crazy. I've been smelling it all day, and I have not partooked. Oh, let's see. A bunch of thank gods. I must have said something. Oh, about the session links and stuff. Wait, this game doesn't have an auto quest option. Yeah. Quest journals are good, at least to tell you what you have started. Alright, so quest journals. And we do have a plan for a quest journal, but it's more of a recording of conversations you've had in the past. Quest journal, just for folks that aren't familiar with it. Quest journals. That's all I'm going to put on there. If we don't debate all of these, would you folks be interested in a follow-up session where we take these topics and get into them in more detail specifically? Is maybe have today be kind of a, we do a little bit of it depending on how much time we have left at the end of this, but it's kind of more of a prep session. Yeah, Zukin, my thing is the Control-Shift-V, I just have to quit. Every once in a while I have to, if you look here, I have to do this to switch between the language settings because it keeps getting jacked. It only works in one language keyboard combo. So people are saying, yep, of course, totally. But I appreciate it. It actually took me a while to remember, and I remembered it right at the same time that Nick was like, you can do that. And I was like, okay, I wasn't crazy. That actually is a thing. Loot all versus loot piecemeal. Okay. Yeah, that is a convenience thing. Loot all versus loot. I want to say one at a time, like God intended. See, that means I'm in the wrong keyboard. So I do this, and it's funny how frequently. Oops. It's funny how easy it is for me to swap between the languages. I need to just disable the language. It's not like I'm ever using that language. Regarding raids, time investment stuff, there has to be things that are difficult or too time consuming for the average player to do. Otherwise, people will completely geared finish. Things generally have value worth when you have them and someone else doesn't. Be floaty. That is absolutely. So in the past, I've been like, oh man, no raids. But really what I've meant is, let's not make a game on top of the game that makes it so people don't want to play the game. I'm going to put this in here and just, I'm going to say raids and raid constructs. Right, because it's like making a game that, making a meta game that completely sort of devalues for the most part the game leading into the meta or the elder game or the end game just doesn't seem like the best idea. So, has anybody brought up Group Finder or not? Nope. Group Finder or not? Okay, Vela, thank you. Yes, like you could grab a base spell or spell type and then add augments, range, potency. You know what, Dargith? I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right over here. Oops. And then I'm going to... I'm going to do this with it. And just, I'm going to keep it because there's an interesting thing going on there. And even if it's not part of the debate later or whatever, it's interesting. Portals from cities versus walking to each city. That would go into, we've got the topic of, pretty certain we had the topic of, no, that's mass teleportation, fast travel, horse paths. And so we're just going to go, we're going to have it here. Boom. Let's see. There's a lot here. I think this is going to take multiple streams. It may, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, Mortis. I think 2 to 4 topics per stream. I look at it as like we just start going through some topics, and we may find that we hit 4 or 5 topics that people just aren't, you know, that into. Loot all on players' corpses, Pattis said, and Amina said yes, and I said no. Mortis is like, yes, no. That's how I debate. No. That's so lame, Veilith. You should, here's my argument against loot all. Here's my argument against loot all. One, it's instant, right? So that takes away a few seconds that you could be spending going, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, I need to get the items off my corpse. The other thing is, it's like, it's so video gamey. Loot all. Okay. All my items magically back on me. You need to reach down and pick that item up and put it on you. Or even if we do it, if we give you the quality of like, you can right click and it goes in the right slot. At least then you still got to click on it. Takes you a few seconds. It's RP, dog. It's also kind of video gamey that you die and come back to life. Well, I mean, we can explain that with some mumbo jumbo lore bullshit. And that's not always the case. You could die and never come back to life if you play hardcore. And there is now a lore justification for why that happens. So there is a lore justification why you don't come back to life when you die in hardcore mode. Boxing versus no boxing. Oh, that's going to be a delightful one. But you know what? If I've got to deal with vendor gate, then we'll also deal with boxing versus no boxing. There could be lore we slide back into our corpse or all our gear is on. I don't like that lore. I'm not writing that lore, Boric. There could be that lore. If someone that's not me writes it and defends it from being deleted. Boxing versus no corpse? What the no boxing. Hardcore should be the default. Make people select softcore mode to be perpetual. Willingly opt out. Bayless says, wait a second, let me switch up because I feel like I'm missing some stuff. Hey, Mustang Spy. Nicodemus said, Group Finder like Match.com for adventuring. Find your ideal match now for only 4 gold piece a month. Okay, you laugh. You laugh. I think at one point suggested the idea of basically dating site for in-game kind of dating matchmaking for MMO based on real characteristics. So you could fill out like a dating profile behind the scenes, and the game would work to match you up with other people like yourself in real life. I'm not saying all ideas are good, but so I missed some stuff. One good topic may be what's the right actions per minute for combat? How do people feel about classes being more passive than others? I'm gonna just copy and paste that whole thing and see if we can find a way to tackle that. PvP server versus being able to flag PvP on any server. Okay, I'll copy and paste that as well. Though, not 100% shooting here, shooting for here. I'm playing on a vanilla WoW private server, and the modern gamer folks have adapted pretty well to no group filter. I think it's better off gone, especially in hardcore where I'm playing. Player names have become much more recognizable when you invest more into getting together. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna put that group finder versus not. What about mercenary players who hide their identity? You pay them join your group. No NPCs. Players know who they are, so they can bypass aggressive NPCs who hate them based on faction. I feel like I'm missing something, Mortis. Okay, you guys are still debating something behind the scenes. What about the opposite? Looting as some form of channeling, and you have to put scaling to it to make it more or less time. Interesting. I can picture what you're saying. They said I struggle with LFG in general, hence I soloed much of my EQ live. It was because it's not in my soul to log in and scream in zones. Hey, you must want me in your group. So I just go about my life quietly. Were you always okay with the game not really catering to that playstyle though? Because at the end of the day, I mean, if you're cool with it. Concerning non-party players, claiming mobs and loot rights on hit versus high DPS. So it's basically first to engage versus what's the term for this? It's on the tip of my tongue. Basically most DPS race. Yeah, sorry guys, you know how it is when I'm doing this. Lace in Space said, hey, just tuning in. Did you work on or play EQA? I played EQA a fair bit when it came out, and then I worked with people that worked on EQA. And if you haven't checked it out, I'm going to post a link right there. That's a link to a bunch of VODs on the Loving Robots YouTube channel, as opposed to the Monsters and Memories YouTube channel. And there are a few people that worked on EQA there. So like Jake Stones is a great interview, Michelle Butler. So if you're interested in EverQuest history, there's probably like 60 hours worth of interviews there. Check them out. Check it out. You guys are already debating multi-boxing versus not. So, hey Brex. But I'm not keeping up with it at the moment. Bayless said, I already had a few experiences in your stress test with players deliberately chasing me around and kill stealing. I prefer not having locked mobs or having everything up, but there needs to be some sort of way for players to deal with being KS'd. If it's habitual, then we really want to try to work on customer service options to help us find those people, and then we'll take them out back and whip that ass a little bit and see if they want to retain their characters. People are like, what? That's not how you run an MMO. Yeah, that's how we're gonna try it. What's up, Jasmine? Let's see. All right, while you guys debate multi-box versus not, I'm gonna try to get caught up on this other stuff. Bayless said channeling and auto loot is maybe the first idea I've heard here recently that I've never considered. LOL. Yeah, that one did get me. I was like, as you can see, I'm just getting caught up now. Liz said there was 20 odd years of playtime for me and things to do. So yeah, that is fascinating. That is fascinating. Almost makes me, but I know a lot of people are shy. Almost makes me want to just interview people that played and be like, tell me what you did for 20 years without grouping in EQ. And why, and all of that. Kirsch said, how about first to engage and enemies gets extra credit on the mob, so even if they're out DPS, they are still able to get credit even if the DPS is subpar. I'll write it down. I really would have to think about implications on a system like that. Darga said it wasn't players kill stealing you as Zukin griefing noobs, his favorite pastime. Zukin is a monster. Acreal said punished by having an NPC follow him around for the next few days takes all their kills. You see what happens, Larry? You're not going to cater to people get their enjoyment, ruining others' enjoyment? Yeah, no, sorry. We like, so here's the thing. There's always going to be people that whine. No offense to any people that may fall into that category. Folks know who they are. There are those folks that, you know, like, oh, someone's picking on me, and it doesn't happen. Not saying that's the case here, but it does happen. I worked in customer service. I know it happens. These things happen, but we're going to identify people that are like that, or because as a customer service person on EQ, not only are there people that you constantly are having petitions about, there are also those people that are constantly filing petitions. And a lot of them are less than valid, right? And both of those folks, in my opinion, wind up in like similar camps. And habitual crybabies, when it's not valid, they're going to get taken to the woodshed as well. Did you see Dark Paw Games hiring a position for creative director needing 10 years experience? Experience with existing IPs, Unreal 4 or 5 portfolio, MMO design experience, rumors of EQ3 swirling right now. Yeah, I saw they're also looking for an executive producer there. They're looking for a creative director on a couple of their IPs. Yeah, that's cool. I think it's awesome. Hopefully they're dusting things off and looking to do something cool. Now, what that cool thing is, if they're working on EQ3, what that is, who knows? If they are, it could be anything. So I guess we'll have to find out. But they've got a wonderful IP. Let's see. Are noticeable racial abilities planned, like an amphibian race that can breathe underwater or something like gnomes and being the only tickerers? We're definitely going to have that discussion. So what do you... We could have a debate of racial abilities versus traits that you can pick. Would that be a debate? I mean, does that fall into convenience versus inconvenience? I'll put it on here, right? It only takes me a second to write and delete. That's my new way of finding out which language I'm using. The trainer music's good. All the music's good. Robert's awesome. Robert just got done finished moving, I believe, so I'm going to try to get him on for a discussion. Is there a woodshed in game? If not, there should be. Maybe we'll put woodsheds right in the middle of the cat rooms. We have cat and dog rooms. Okay, cool. Alright. Zukin said maybe we should give ogres a rear stun immunity. Use them big cakes. You know what I'm saying? I can actually picture it completely. Alright, alright, alright. Bayla said, I like the flavor of racials, even if they're not perfectly balanced against each other, as long as they all get something interesting, assuming the game doesn't have a grossly tuned meta in-game where everything has to be perfect. People will play what they want. I'll copy your statement, and I will put it right here. Stat caps versus soft caps versus no cap. Yeah, I mean, it's a thing to debate. That's one that I don't necessarily... I'd let you guys go, but if you want input from our end, I'd pull Nick and Ollie on, I think. Okay, cool. So let's look at our inventory of topics real quick. I'm going to run through our topics. It was a bit messier up here. I can clean this up as we go. Fielder said Embers has a P taunt system with more potent variants, holding aggro better. It's hilarious. They even have splash and mob reaction audio files involved. Hearing an insect get angry is funny. You can pee on enemies in Embers? Damn it. I need to get in there and play. I tried the first weekend that it was available. I tried, and it kept just telling me I was getting like a, I don't know, like a 505 error or something. I was getting an error that basically it wouldn't take my money, and so then I was like, oh, I'll come back, and then I just haven't. So apologies to the Embers folks. It's not. Caster said Ember's a new game or something. Yeah, Ember's Adrift. You should check it out. Or check out videos or whatever. So this is all map stuff, map stuff, map stuff, map stuff, map stuff. Really, that's all map stuff. Tight. YouTube just cut it off right in the middle. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, the fact that they're a little indie team and you know have the history that they had trying to get it out and all that stuff, I can't not support them. Has this been under here the whole time? Hopefully not, because people on the VOD have been wanting to. Dragon, are you busting my chops right now? Okay, so when you guys see me do something silly like that, always feel free to call it out. Because I've got this window, but I don't have the monitor space to keep it up. So I usually just have it hidden behind shit or minimized or whatever. So if you see my posture's looking bad, I'm looking like a potbelly goblin over here. If the music sounds off, anything. When we're doing something like this, if my shit's not lined up properly, always feel free to give me feedback. Buff level limits. Craig, I'm gonna go ahead and say so for some of these, is it bad if I just come out at this stage? If I come out on some of these things and say, yeah, for us though, we're not gonna. So like twinking and buff level limits. I shouldn't have to hit save. It's Google. Yeah, we don't like buff level limits. Well, because what I mean by that, Enoch, is it's definitely our game, but like just sometimes it's healthy to not, step on the conversation, because there'll be some weird stuff that'll pop up sometimes when you guys are debating if we're not like, hey, well, that's not going to happen, just move on. I tend to do that on Discord for a reason. And hear me out on that. And you guys can tell me whether or not you think this is bullshit, since you're here, and I appreciate you being here. When it's Discord, sometimes I'll step in and I'll just be like, here's our stance on it, or here's my view on it, or whatever. Because with some of it, it's either a topic I know can go downhill quickly, or we've debated it a bunch of times, or it's just like, no matter what, we're going to try this thing in a specific way. Just so that it doesn't like, I feel bad, and maybe this is something after 20 years of working on MMOs I should get over or whatever, but I feel bad whenever there's a forum in which, it's an official forum and developers are on it and all of that stuff. I feel bad if things are allowed to fester or degenerate or whatever. And then sometimes when there's people that are like, well, but I really think, the game should be entirely instanced. And then it brings that debate up again. We're like, dude, it's just not, that's not the game we're making. So let me just shut that shit down real quick. Well, but I really believe, and it's like, cool that you believe it, but you're in the wrong spot, right? So, because what can wind up happening is in my opinion, maybe this isn't actually the case, when topics like that aren't addressed, then they can sit there, and if like one of us from the team don't come in and kind of clarify or whatever, then the community will start to fight with this person, they're like, you know, the developer said, and then it turns into this shit show of like back and forth, and next thing you know, people are accusing each other of being, I don't know, Nazis or something, right? It's like, so it gets weird. So it's just kind of like, hey, on this topic, we're not going to do that, or hey, this is how we're going to do this other thing. So it's just kind of. Fielder, thank you for the save reminder though earlier. Hopefully that makes sense. You need a Hall of Fame for good deeds and notable heroes. Brex, what do we do with people with silly names though? Buff level limits aren't the worst thing, as it makes you sit and interact with the party. The other side effect of short-term buffs is that a single person can't twink a whole zone. But you know what? It feels so cool to be able to twink a whole zone. You know how much being able to just give newbies overpowered buffs when I'm like sitting at a weird camp and there's newbies around me or whatever, how much that really made me fall in love with my cleric on Eridune? Because that was the first cleric I really played, right? I just think that's so huge, and like how many wonderful experiences. So back before we really got the project rolling, like seriously, there were a lot of days where like Nick and I would be looking for groups or duoing or playing in on P99 and Eridune, and man, like having that out of group healer, or you know, somebody's main while they had alts that they're twinking or whatever. First of all, we always had good experiences. We never had anybody be an asshole. It's like, I'm at this camp with my twink, go away. Like, never ran into it once. And we, you know, that was like a solid year of playing. And the number of times that we would just run into these situations where somebody like buffed the shit out of us, or when I was on my cleric, I buffed people. I think for the amount of just goodwill and like good vibes, like those good vibes, I don't, as a developer, the number of like hours it might have shaved off of that person's progression time, or the amount that it kind of broke the game in their favor, it's so much worth that benefit of like the social interaction, and like the person just, oh, remember we were playing last week and there was that shaman that was sitting there and just like kept our whole group of 3 people that shouldn't have been there alive, you know, like it's just I think it's one of the cooler rewards of leveling a tune, is the fact that you can come in and people are like, oh my god, that person's doing X for us, right? I think it's one of those really great unspoken sort of, or unplanned benefits to progressing. It's like, what do I get for all these, you know, hours of progression, or, you know, tracking down a spell or whatever it is? It's like you get to be that person that does cool shit. So Vela said, I've spent hundreds of hours in EQ buffing people for fun. Fielder said, maybe a filthy casual server with instance content where all items aren't quite as good, but still lets them see all your guys' work. There may, you know what, there's a weird, like, there's a tickle in that area. It'd be a fun thing to just sort of like discuss or brainstorm one day in a way where no one freaks out that we're going to do it, but there might be some interesting things in that direction. It's not horrible. They said a really part of the role-playing experience. Wookie Nookie said, love sitting in EC with my shaman and buffing the newbies. Yep. Would love if some buffs were auras, where if we were near our group, we don't need to recast all the time. Okay, so that's interesting. I'm gonna add that in versus so buffs and buff durations is actually a convenience versus not type of topic. And then I'll put this right under here, Bork. Bork, was it you that was posting in Discord about getting chicks in EQOA? As a young teen, I was just trying to think of not you, okay? Because I posted the image of the EQOA AVX. It's like, these are the chicks in question, and for some reason, I don't know why it was something else recently that I think I responded to. That's what it was. That's why I'm thinking of your name. Shweddy said it makes you feel like a god when you can buff players. Chesolo said any thought to zone-wide buffs similar to Vanguard's diplomacy skills? Was there a zone-wide buff into diplomacy? What in the world? Oh, I think I just had my leg pressed against the table or something. I was like, I just felt a dent in my shin, and I had a pretty interesting bike wreck on Tuesday. I was like, I didn't notice that before. Did that happen? No, it is me pressing my shin against the table here. I was like, what in the world? Warland said, I love casting Spirit of Wolf on anybody I passed. I'm gonna make a note of this just because I'm curious. This document's a bit of a mess at the moment. Sorry about that. I don't think this line is valid anymore. Dr. McCollum said, I think buffing anyone is awesome. Really enjoyed power leveling newbies on my white mage and Final Fantasy. Also buffing raising peeps who need me. Mortis said. Herb said, dude, taking my high level druid to Freeport and just damage shield and regenerating newbies and then watching them suddenly sprinting around punching every snake. Such a good feeling. Right? I think it's a great reward for being higher level. Or running to an orc camp group and buffing them all and running away feels nice. Yeah, see? Yeah, definitely emergent gameplay. Okay, I need to... There was one thing I missed. On buff limits, absolute target says there's a magic point, is what I'm saying, where you have to invest enough of your time that it really means something. In a party you're helping, really appreciate it. First. I'm curious what reagent cost how that may factor into this discussion as well. You know what I mean? But let me scroll down. Oh my gosh, scroll down. Where is it? Find. Buff. I don't think we've got a good category for this, so I'm going to put it right below buffs and say twinking and buffing. let's see. I'm gonna get caught up here. Would be great to have zones that have content for all levels, maybe dungeons for higher levels, overland content for lower levels. Always hated how zones went dead after everyone out-leveled it. Yeah, for sure. We talk about that a fair bit. If buff duration is short, buffs should be particularly useful, thorns, etc. In vanilla WoW, I don't cast 5-minute Paladin Blessings on groups until in-game because 20 attack power or 5 MP isn't worth sitting to drink 2 more times every 5 minutes. Buff durations. Zukin said, I want that on limited basis, personally. The problem I can see is that if you just single cast it and run off, then you can't buff moves or something. EQ2's buff system kind of made the whole thing very antisocial. It's a fair point on that. Shins are surprisingly malleable. I just really shocked myself. How hard should it be to get XP? Alright, leveling pace. Leveling pace is a good convenience versus inconvenience topic. Imagine if some spell reagents are only available from foraging. Chinny D. Yeah, similar to, you know, you shouldn't be able to buy bat wings or fire BLIs or bone chips or other things from a vendor. So reagents. We had reagents here somewhere. Or maybe you can cast spells without reagents, but the potency duration is lower. Maybe it costs more mana to cast without them. I think we've talked about that before, and it's not a bad idea. What kind of milestones are we going to have? Anything akin to EQ epics? Shweddy, there's the topic of whether or not we should have epics or what they should consist of here. Gorky said, I like the use of reagents that are acquired through player gathering, like consumables being part of the economy. It makes crafting gathering more valuable. Yeah. I'm going to copy that last part and put it in here. It's one of those things, because even if you get like just random cast off when you're harvesting ore or something, and you get little gems or whatever that aren't super valuable, but they are reagents. Because the bone chip economy is really good in EQ. It seems like one of those things that newbies can always get some value out of, and there's always some interdependency between high levels and low levels. Camp versus no camp discussion. Having NPCs rotate to other areas of the map after a set amount of time would keep things interesting. I'll put it on there. I'm so pro camp that anything that detracts from camp is a super hard sell for me personally. But let me find camp versus no camp here. I swear there was something on there before. I thought we had something that was on the topic. That is what triggered the whole... Can we pitch tents and start campfires? We've been discussing it. On reagent costs, reagents that have carry conditions like must stay dry or can melt can give even more value to the spells they cast and caster. That's pretty That's pretty hardcore. I'm gonna write it down. Reagents. Kirsch says, honestly, leveling the place can be slow if it feels good to play your class. Right now on P99, Pally is just awful until level 30, but you guys already seem to have that part figured out. It'll always be a work in progress, I think. Leveling pace is definitely something we'll be tweaking as we go and just trying to get right. Because we really want it to feel, it should feel like a real journey. It shouldn't feel like you're just blowing through the game. What about vendor diving for items? I like EQ. Vendor diving is always going to be a thing. The question we run into is like, how do the vendors actually work? Vela says, I know many games have set vendor inventory, and other games like EQ have player influence vendor inventories, but how about basically a flea market junk vendor who just resells at a high price whatever trash players vendor to them, even if it's something that could be overly useful or rare. It should just you shouldn't be buying. I think this exists in some form or another in our discussions, no matter what, as well. I've even mentioned the idea of like, so if you run into Master Windcog, he's the first person you go to in the Enchanter newbie quest. He's a gnome that has a curious goods shop. And so the idea is maybe even flag certain items that are quest items that you can't sell to other vendors that just don't want to buy them. But you can buy these quest items from him because he's kind of a weird curious goods guy. Not all quest items, but many. And have like weird merchants like that. It's like, I've got all these shrunken heads. What do I do with them? So that's something we've discussed. Let's see. So Bailey says, I prefer camp, but the idea of a full dungeon crawl is awesome as well. But might be hard if you have awesome sprawling multi-level dungeon. It's just, yeah. Not saying that we may never do that, but camps are the favorite gameplay. Dungeon crawl, it's funny, that was really the goal of Lost Dungeons with Norath, was to finally put in dungeon crawls. Think this got missed earlier. Krago says droppable versus no drop items. Yep, it did. But it is definitely one of those topics that comes up. We tend to favor things being as droppable as possible. Did anyone bring up account bound versus no account bound? No, we had shared bank, and so I can go also account bound versus not. Sean's going to hate me, Boric says, as I dislike the set name camps versus non-camps, as I like active playing versus non-active playing, which is why I love when any bandit can spawn bandit lord in his zone. I mean, there are camps that are like that already in. If you go to the smuggler's camp, any of the smuggler positions can be named. But for the most part, we're big fans of camping on the team. Oh, John. Oh, John. There's so much to discuss. John came and was like, all right, recap for me, please. Mortis says, I think being able to level up your camp and get more normal monsters to spawn, as well as elites or named bosses, could be a cool mechanic that makes you look at every group of mobs differently if they have different rare mob spawns exclusive to certain mob types, as well as zone-wide rare. It winds up, those types of systems always get a bit tricky. We could discuss those in detail one day, but I tend to be very hesitant personally on camps or spawns or monsters that level up or alter over time or any of that stuff. There may be certain thresholds in which some of it works, maybe, but it's just it gets easy to grief. It gets weird. That's just. Bayless said, but Eldon dungeons were generic junk. How dare you? You know how hard we had to work to get all that shit in under 6 months? Or whatever it was. Dude, it was so much data. I think it was 150,000 new records or something. Zemus, okay, Zemus even says it. Eldon is a miracle. Dude, it was so intense behind the scenes. Like getting that figured out and getting it up. Eldon dungeons just felt like feel like Anarchy Online missions. They actually were Anarchy Online missions. But I could have sworn Anarchy Online missions were randomly assembled and single player at the time. But that was the inspiration for Eldon. The goal was to get something where people could do a dungeon crawl within a set period of time. They could work towards goals by sort of accumulating the Wayfarer points. Because you had your own instance, we could put in things like interactable objects and traps and stuff like that. So, yeah. Which is neat in principle, but boring. Boring to you, Valeth. People liked it. We won an award for that damn expansion. You can kiss my grits. Let's see. Being able to sell quest items might take away from the social aspect of the game. I see people OSC and DMing all the time asking if I want X quest item that just dropped for them, and they have no use for it. It's possible. Maybe the vendor could be overpriced and inconsistent. Yep, that's true. Item durability versus no item durability versus infinite repairing. I like it. I think, you know, I know where our basic belief on this, but that's one of those ones that is kind of fun to let people argue about. Can we get a gardener class that will plant different flowers, giving buffs to their group? Or is that, and that is their only abilities? Probably not. But you may get a gardener trade skill. Hey, Hills Ridge. Kirsch. Oh, no, sorry. It wasn't Kirsch. It was Valus. Valus said in response to Keith, said, Justin, players don't appreciate game devs' hard work. Valus said, that's true in the best edgy voice. I don't appreciate the faceless developers' hard work, but I might appreciate what that hard work produces. And we appreciate your $15. As Milo got in trouble for saying, keep talking as long as you're paying you $15. My Porsche needs new performance parts. Or something like that. I might have gotten the quote wrong. Then they were like, Milo, stop. Don't post that in the community forum anymore. Or no, I think he had his own like blog or something at the time. Completely fine with this arrangement as long as you keep producing things I want. Exactly. That is the extent of our relationship. We produce content, you produce your wallet. I played a game where repairs had a chance to lower the durability of an item. Never broke a weapon, but it sucked knowing it was there at all times. Yeah, so I guess the question would be, should durability be a bonus versus like a break or a detriment? Right, because whenever it's used as a benefit rather than like a binary sort of completely sort of broken item a la like Breath of the Wild or something like that, then it's different. You're basically just buffing all of your stuff. Yeah, like weapon sharpening buff. And SC2. We're giving out 2 community gift subs. We're giving 14. Thank you for that. Soupy Goose, BB Grill. Both got lucky today. Thanks. Of course, if you're not a faceless dev, but an approachable dev who closely interacts with the community, I may appreciate you more personally. Who may he be talking about? Zukin. Kirsch said we could rework it instead of durability. It's honing in temp enchantment system. Can't you make a fundamental decision on degradation and tweak the rate of decay? I guess the question is, where does the rate of decay end up? What is it decay to? Does it decay in a performance bonus, or does it decay to a point where it's inoperable? Does it decay to inoperability? What I do? Heard my name? Zukin? Oh. Valus was just talking about faceless devs versus non-faceless devs. Would you consider durability on some things? For example, boats, housing have durability. Yes, John, I think that is a good point. I'm going to put that on our list. Minigames that do gathering like fishing versus just one button gathering. Ooh. Alright, so... Violet says, don't mind decay to inoperability if there's a repair method or trade skill, etc. Full break with no repair is fine on a game item, but it's not the standard. Alright. Alright, let me get my Stardew Valley and M&M. Yeah, Stardew Valley is actually one of the games that we had on our initial inspiration list. Believe it or not. If gathering is a minigame, feel like you should get higher, more skilled in the minigame. Or as you get higher, more skilled, it should be easier. And if you get a rare node that you have either mad skills, that you have to have mad skills to beat, or the minigame that only true Canadian counts are able to successfully. Are you Canadian? Will spells require components to cast a spell? Can spells be augmented with components? So, Calyx, we've got that in our... We've got that in our reagents. We've got reagents. So, spell reagents, yep. So, we've got both of those. How do you feel about summoning party members back via skill like WoW's Warlock? We've got that as well. Right here. Call the hero at lower levels, all levels. Alright, so we've got... I tell you what. Let me read out the topics that we have. And what we're going to do is we're going to have more of these coming up. And so it actually will be a recap. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab a few of these at a time. Over the next few streams or so, or maybe we'll break it up in every other stream or whatever. We'll do these, but then we'll get in. We'll actually like debate and discuss. I'll try to be as clear as possible on kind of our stance to date or whatever. Depending on who's available from the team, I can also get some additional clarity. All right, so maps in the game, and if they are in the game, how do they work? Buffs and buff durations. So, yeah, I think that's self-explanatory. We're not debating now, Keith. We're debating later. We're wrapping. We're basically going to review everything that's here, see if we missed anything ultra critical. We're going to get it written down. I'll get the list cleaned up, and then we'll do. Leveling pace, which can really be that it may not seem like it, but it will be a topic. John, don't do that. Twinking and buffing. Vendor gates, the term that has now been coined on Discord earlier. Is Kirsch still here? Yeah, Kirsch. In here. Thanks, Kirsch. Vendor gate, too good, right? So, vendor gate, I love it. Someone update Fires of Heaven immediately. They've got a new term. Yeah, Kirsch, now you're the vendor gate guy. In-game title, Kirsch, Keeper of the Vendor Gate. You get the title, but your character always has to stay at the vendor gate. We're not arguing these yet. We're just reviewing them, Enoch. We're not arguing them. Instances versus contested content. Fast travel and let me put a note on here. Include discussion on Excuse me. What did we call that idea? Crap, it's in the FAQ. It's a term I made up. I can't. Include discussion on... Crap, I'm gonna have to go to our website. Even remember what the actual term was. I use this. Monsters and memories. FAQ. Man, whenever I'm streaming, I'm just brain dead. Find instance. Next. Will there be instance areas? I think did I take the term off here? Oh, I remember it now. I remember it. Discussion on, quote, controlled spaces. Nicodemus said, got ahead a little early today, sir. Wife's birthday. We're almost done here, so not early at all. Thanks for being here. As always, thank you for being here. Thank you for your continued generosity and for being the cool guy you are. I miss your sketches. I miss your sketches, Nicodemus. You got to scroll way up there in the community content to see them too. But they're fantastic. See you on Tuesday, buddy. You should compile all of them, repost them. Let's see. Yeah, you guys aren't arguers at all. Yeah, the sketches are super, super, super cool. Yeah, if there's like a community sort of content thing on the wiki, you should add them to there as well. Beautiful. The doctor said, almost forgot one extremely important item. Should we have inns outside of cities like Goldshire? Goldshire Inn for role-playing in a bedroom. Yes. That one's easy enough. And some players can even own some of those inns, so you can set them up how you want. Alright, so let's keep reviewing. Vendor gate, instances versus contested content, fast travel, and horse slash flight paths. Were horse paths only a Dayak thing? Shared banks between characters, account bound versus... I'll just say or no. Can we own a bathhouse? Asking for an ogre friend? Maybe. I don't see why not. Mass teleportation versus making the journey on foot slash horse. Horse paths as in like hire a horse to ride similar to a flight path. Nuad, I remember Dark Ages of Camelot had horses that were basically like that. So I think that's this thing. Okay, Velith. Goodbye, my faceless friend. I hope you enjoy your time elsewhere. Thank you for being here and for participating. We have horses. Mounts versus no mounts. What about pets? Companion, pets. Though, you know, it's not really a tedium thing. I'm going to sort these into like what was originally on the topic. Like mounts versus not mounts, I guess could be sort of a convenience versus inconvenience, right? Like never having access to a mount means you're always going to have sort of those limitations. But when we have the discussion, we're just going to tell you right out, we're having mounts in a game. Sorry. Lord of the Rings Online has horse flight paths as well. Okay, cool. I had to assume more than just one game did it. Deployables. Okay. I don't know where to put it, so I'm just gonna scroll down. And then I'm gonna finish reading this list. I swear. I swear. I swear, Ricky Bobby. Alright, where were we on the list? We were saying... shared banks between characters, account-bound items versus not, mass teleportation versus making the journey on foot / horse, hirelings, NPC versus grouping, hireling / NPCs versus grouping with players. That one's going to be an easy one for us to just say. Global currency versus specific currency via location / game expansion. Call the hero at lower levels, auction house versus player driven trade, spell reagents, soul binders, mounts versus no mounts, companion pets, potions, scrolls, wands, etc. will go into that. Droppable versus no drop items, epics versus no epics, mailboxes versus no mailboxes, encumbrance versus no encumbrance, raids and raid constructs, corpse runs versus no corpse runs, graveyard or no, multi-questing or no, group trade windows, specializing in one class to fit, especially in a class to fit a role versus trait trees for class to fill multiple roles, camps versus no camps, loot drops, crafting, auto combine versus manual combines. There may be other crafting topics when it comes to conveniences versus inconveniences. Hey Ali, what's up, dude? Just recapping now. Quest journals, loot all versus loot one at a time, group finder or no, boxing versus no boxing, first to engage versus DPS race, racial abilities versus traits you can pick, item durability versus no durability versus infinite repairing. Gathering, mini games versus single button. Deployables. And the rest I think were kind of ideas. So those, I'll sort those into marking targets versus not. Yeah, that's a simpler one, but I think it's a fair. Right? Because there's some UI. I think there's a number of UI things that we could probably get into. So I'm going to say UI discussion if we're talking about conveniences versus inconvenience, because there's a lot of stuff that I tend to like push back on when it comes to UI stuff, because I'm very much like a how do we keep the UI as uncluttered as possible. And so there may be some stuff that we could debate there. The doctor said, I love the idea of having temp camps like Swig. Maybe they give bonus for buffs, etc. Camps are definitely something we've discussed. So it's something we're going to experiment with no matter what. Varkin says, is sit/stand aggro variances or feign death pulling versus needing a spell to split mobs topic for this time? I think so. I think we could probably turn those two into topics. Ooh, there's a lot of stuff. That's a spicy meatball. Yeah. So if we go here, blindness actually making your screen black. I'll go back up to UI. Designed to interact with the game world and not a wall of windows obstructing everything your artist did. Yes, Zemus. It's bizarre, I know. It's crazy talk. It's a topic where I get very emotional. I'm very emotional. Yeah, it is a treasure trove of topics, Warland. As long as there's feature for larger fonts, I don't care about anything else UI related. Oh, hashtag old and blind. Fielder, I think we go pretty big so far, but it could, maybe I'll go bigger. We got a dear friend, Justin Beard, who's got significant like issues with his site, and we've been using him as kind of a bit of a test. It's like, is this big enough yet? So, let's see. Could have the screen go white rather than black, or having it be obvious your monitor just didn't just die on you. I think I even proposed, like, what about deafen, where it turns off your chat? It's just, it kills your chat, but you can see. What about blind and deafen? Let's see. Discord tie-in. Silence mutes you in Discord as well. It's hilarious. Give us complete control over your PC. What could go wrong? Flashbang. Zemus said flashbang. Yeah, CS flashbang blindness. Maybe level range you can group with to get XP, or is that already decided? Enoch, it may be one that we can, you know, discuss a little bit more. We've already got formulas and stuff in place, but I'll put it on the list. And what I'll do is I'm going to prioritize these based off of pretty scientific criteria, i.e. My level of interest in the topic. And then you guys can let me know if I'm off base, or be like, hey, why aren't we talking about this one? Trains versus leashing mobs already base game design. Varkin, yeah, we are all about trains. We're all about the fun that comes with trains. Zone lines just wouldn't be the same without trains. What did Kirsch say? Let me scroll up. Oh, okay, nothing bad. Planes versus trains versus automobiles. Thadvik. And on that note, we are at 10:59. All right, so I think we're at a good point. I'll get this cleaned up. I will post in I'll post in Discord before the next stream. We'll just go straight into it. We'll do another one of these. If you guys like this, I don't know if you do. I have no idea. I'm assuming you enjoyed it because you guys have been active as all get up in here, and it's no bullshit. It's really fun to have you guys communicating and having discussions with each other in here, and like it's we've had fun with every one of these in the past. It's just been too long since we've done one. It's been about a year. You can find some of these in our VODs, so if you look on our YouTube, you can see we've got a few of these in the past, and they led to new topics and all that. Like I said, I made a note at the very top of this. John, this one's for you as well. Note to self, dust off the old Brainstorm documents and gather up the various feedback documents from friends and family, etc. because you had asked about some of this old stuff earlier, and so I think we'll get this dust off and we'll do more of these. You may get tired of them if we're doing these like back to back to back to back. So what I'll do is we'll do at least one a week and see how it goes. And if you maintain the same level of interest and we continue to have topics, then we'll keep at it. And in the past, I think we posted the Brainstorm documents. And Nick cleaned them up, and then we had them in Google Docs, and we posted the links so that folks can get it. If you're lurking back there and you're part of a team that's working on an MMO, awesome. And so feel free to piggyback on this, leverage this stuff. We don't really consider any other teams rivals. I mean, sure, we're gonna compete for that $15 and people's time, but we're pretty cool with everybody. So I think we'll get those links and stuff up, and they can benefit your teams as well. It's been really good information. It's stuff that we talked about in the past of like what makes a good dungeon and what makes good trade skills and all that stuff. I think it's really worth dusting off and getting back into them. So Locket Rancher, thank you for the prime. We appreciate those primes. If you got them, we'll take them. So let's see. Community discussion streams sound awesome, Fielder said. They're a lot of fun. We like it. Subscription versus free to play. Subscription, we're just always going to be subscription. You're very welcome for the stream. I'm going to wrap up for tonight, and I'll be back on Tuesday. I'll let you know before we head into the stream on Tuesday which of these topics we're going to hit. And I hope everybody has an awesome weekend. Enoch, thank you for being here. I'm going to have a great night. I'm going to go to sleep right after this. Mortis said, enjoy the stream. Looking forward to more discussion. I think considering game mechanics and how they affect player motivation is one of the most interesting topics. Right on. Later, Keith. Later, Boric. DDJ, see ya. Sub is good. Lace in space. You have a good one as well, Thadwick. Have a great weekend. Sparrow, you're very welcome. Thanks for being here. Kirsch, thank you, and thank you for Vendergate. I love it. Good stuff. Take care. MMO Pug, thank you. Mustang Spy, good night. Tai Sight, you're very welcome. Have a good one. Hells Ridge, very welcome. Yeah, try to get in earlier. Right on. I'm trying to hit the same time. It's 8 p.m. my time every stream. Warland, see you. Fielder, good night. Ollie, see you in Slack. Chinny D, as am I. You're very welcome. Craigo, take care. Appreciate that. Amana, bye-bye. Zukor, or Alphonse, I guess. See ya. Jamino, yeah. Hopefully I see a lot of you on Tuesday. Demas, thanks for the participation. Very cool stuff. And your knowledge is always fun to tap into. Good night, Dragon. You shoes. Goodbye. Frugal Badger. Night. Bounty Code. Later. Locker Rancher. You're very welcome for the memories and for the monsters. We're gonna make more. See you, John. Tom and Arch. Choose. Chow. Cool. That pretty much everybody? I love saying goodnight to folks. It's very nice. Good night, John Boy. Good night, Grandpa. Alright, I'm going to hit the button. I will see everybody on Tuesday. I hope you have a great weekend. And, yeah, thanks again.